Welcome back to another episode of Called to Homeschool. I just wanted to say a quick thank you for listening. It is so fun to watch the numbers grow. And thank you. It's happening because of you guys. You guys are sharing this. You're leaving awesome reviews. I love those. I read all of them. Thank you so, so much. Thank you for listening. You guys are amazing. You send me sweet notes and messages and just let me know how this podcast is helping you. And so I'm so grateful that it is a help and something that is helping people have confidence to homeschool, letting them know just different ideas and suggestions and all those types of things. So thank you guys so much for all of those. I love to hear the messages, all those good things. So thank you guys so much. No Yell November started this week, just a few days ago. And whether or not you officially signed up or decided, I hope you will still try for the month to join us in No Yell November. They have the Facebook group where there'll be more content posted this month to really help you learn to overcome this habit and actually not even have the desire to yell anymore. If you are wanting some extra help with it, please join Mama's Members where you will get videos on this, a workbook, what else? You get bonus calls all month long to really help you dive in. Those have been a lot of fun. And to help you not only to listen to videos as we were coaching the other day about this. And then somebody said, yeah, but what about this? Or what about this? And I love that we get to then take the things that they're struggling with and put it right in and help them work right through it. So I'd love to have you guys participate with that. And I love to see what you're creating. You're creating these little heavens all over the earth and a refuge from the storm. And I think we need more homes like that. So thank you so much for putting in the work and the effort to do that. So I was thinking it would be a great idea to dive into the scriptures this week. And there have been some scriptures that have really been standing out to me, and I wanted to focus on one of them. And this is coming from last month's, October's study guide of Come Follow Me from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And last month in October, we studied about Joseph Smith while he was imprisoned in Liberty Jail. And he endured so much while being there. It was basically a cellar that was about 14 by 14 feet of just compacted dirt. It was cold and it was damp, and he was there through winter. He was treated very poorly, to say that lightly. It wasn't even tall enough for him to stand up all the way. So think about that, being stuck and confined with other people in this 14 by 14 dirt cellar, basically dungeon type thing. It's cold, you're not warm, wet all the time, and you can't even stand up all the way. Right? It is not a great situation. You're away from your family, all those things. And in section 121 of the Doctrine and Covenants, Joseph Smith starts it with saying, I had it ready, saying, "O God, where art thou?" And he goes on and says, "Where are you? Where are you hiding? How long are you going to allow me to suffer? Like, this is not good. Why are you letting this happen?" I love verse 4, and he says, "O Lord God Almighty, maker of heaven and earth and seas, and of all things that in them are, and who controllest and subjectest in the devil, and the dark and benighted dominion of," I don't even know what that word is, Sheol. "Stretch forth thy hand, let thine eye pierce. Let thy pavilion be taken up. Let thy hiding place be no longer covered. Let thine ear be inclined. Let thy heart be softened, and those bowels be moved toward compassion to us." Right? So he's like, God, where are you? We are suffering so much. I know how powerful you are. Come out of your hiding place. Will you just show me where you are? Then God answers him with this beautiful way of just saying, "My son." I love that. I love that he says, "My son." Just reminding us who we really are. We are his. And he says to him, "My son, peace be unto thy soul. Thine adversity and thine afflictions shall be but a small moment." Doesn't it feel like it's so long when we are in the midst of a trial and we're facing difficulty and we're like, how long is this going to last? And God's like, oh, it's actually not going to be that long, right? Peace be unto your soul, because it's only going to be for a moment. And then he says in the next verse, "And then if thou endure it well, God shall exalt thee on high, thou shalt triumph over all those foes. So, have you ever had Liberty Jill moments where you have been experiencing extreme trials? Maybe you have said, God, where are you? How long are you going to have me endure this trial? Why won't you step in and help me? A lot of you felt this call to homeschool. And you did it. You acted on faith and you did it. And everything is going wrong. How do I do this when I have so many kids? How do I do this when I work full time? How do I do this with a new baby? Or I had twins, or I'm pregnant and I'm bedridden. I don't even know what I'm doing. How do I do this if I don't have the finances? How do I do this with XYZ, right? We learn so much from the scriptures on how to endure a trial when it says in verse 8 of a section 121, endure it well. How does one endure it well? First of all, to me, I think my husband and my oldest son are such beautiful examples of this, but being mindful of your complaining. Those two can go through so much and you don't even know that they may be suffering because they just don't complain. My sweet grandma that passed away a few months ago, she was basically blind. She couldn't get around very well. She loves being busy and had all these awesome hobbies and she couldn't do any of them. And I never heard her complain. So be mindful of your complaining and what to do instead. Be grateful for what you do have. There's a beautiful story. It's a old Yiddish tale called It Could Always Be Worse. And that's a really great picture book, especially with kids. We've read it with our homeschool. It could always be worse. And this man goes to his rabbi and was like, my house is crazy. And so he says, bring in the chickens. He goes, okay. And then like, Rabbi, that's actually made my house crazier. And he keeps telling him to bring in more and more animals. Also, bring in the cow. Hey, bring in this, right? And he has him bring in all these things. And then after he's like, this is pure chaos, the rabbi then tells him, okay, now take all these things out. And he sees that what he had was actually not as bad as what he thought it would be. Now his home feels nice and wonderful without all these animals in it. So that is a really great book to share for yourself or with your kids. It could always be worse. To be grateful for where you are in your trial, right? Of like, it really could be worse, right? Then God continues and says in section 122, verse 7, let me get back there. And know thou, my son, that all these things shall give thee experience and shall be for thy good. So every year, my husband gives our children and me a blessing before each school year. And one year, I had 6 little kids, and the blessing he gave me was not one of comfort, but one that said, this will be one of your hardest years of homeschooling. But through this experience, that I would learn and master skills that would not only bless my life, but would be able to bless other people's lives as well. And he was right. It was absolutely an intense year. We were hit very hard financially after the 2008 crash, and we found ourselves living in a very small home with 8 people. I was trying to homeschool without spending any money while navigating 6 children and a husband who worked long hours trying to build back up a business. I don't know if I endured it well, but I know I learned a lot through that experience. My husband and I would often joke as we were experiencing this is that it can't get any worse, and just like that book, it would get much worse. One time he broke out in some sort of rash all over his body, and we laughed like we have become Job. They were not boils, but we joked that they were boils all over his body, like it can't get any worse, and then it would, right? It was a really interesting year. But what I learned from that year has blessed me greatly. It made my relationship with my husband rock solid. As we endured that year, we realized that there was nothing that, our relationship could withstand those trials of that year, it could withstand anything. I learned amazing organizational skills with my family that I get to implement and share with all of you and Mama's members. We are all going to have Liberty Jill moments where we think this is too much. I cannot endure it. You may be having it right now. I just want to leave you with some hope, to remember to trust God, that He is very, very mindful of you. Call down upon your angels and help and have that support system there for you. Because if we endure it well, God tells us that these things shall be for thy good. So I want to leave you guys with some hope and love, and know that any trial that you are experiencing will be but for a small time. I like the exact words of that, but it will be for but a small amount of time. And I just want to let you know that I love you guys, and I'm always rooting for you, no matter if you're currently experiencing your Liberty Jail moments or you have experienced it. That if we can learn to endure it well and to learn to grow and let those experiences help us become a better version of ourselves. So I want to tell you guys I love you, and I will see you next week. Have a good one.